What an incredible, amazing, trailblazing woman that you are. And I personally look up to you. So I'm glad that somebody saw, your leadership, trailblazing leadership journey, and saw it fit to nominate you for these awards. So what an honor to have you as one of the inaugural finalists for the Southern African Women in Leadership Trailblazers Awards. Congratulations. How do you feel?
I'm completely and utterly overwhelmed because when you do certain things, you do it just because it really feeds your soul, and it ensures that you fulfill your purpose in life, and you don't really expect any form of recognition. So for me, I am completely and utterly overwhelmed that I have even been considered for such a prestigious award.
Well, incredibly amazing. Thank you for that. So as I said, my name is Seipati and I am the CEO of SAWIL. This is my co-pilot, Dr. Andy Brough from the Brough Leadership Institute. So he'll be helping me coordinate the interview. But before I hand over to him, I want to just, maybe for the audience and everyone who will be watching this as they vote for you, who is Jacki Mpondo Hendricks? What is she about, and what exactly earned her a seat at this table?
I always say that I start with the position statement, and my position statement is to say that I'm a proud daughter of the African soil. I come from a proud lineage of ancestors before me, and ultimately that I'm actually the personification of God's grace, mercy, and love. And for that, all of that put together ensures that Ubuntu is ingrained in my soul and in my spirit, and that whatever I do is an expression of that. So in terms of how I've gotten here, sometimes destiny is bestowed on you. Sometimes you just live and you are just placed in certain positions where you don't have a choice to actually just be the first in so many things. I have found myself, sometimes even without intention, being placed as the first in so many things. Just as a bit of a history, because when you turn 50, it becomes very difficult to begin to summarize almost 30 years of experience in some kind of motivation. But I looked at the finalists and I was reminded how almost, it was 1989. In 1989, I became the first Black finalist from the Eastern Cape, actually. And I actually entered the competition then with what we used to call, I think, Seipati, you're too young for this, but what we used to call the German cuts, the Grace Jones hairstyle. And in actual fact, when you go back into the 1989 Miss SA finalists, pre-democracy, I actually rocked singles, which has never been done again after that, because I was wanting to make a statement that we need to begin to redefine a narrative that celebrates our authenticity as diverse people of South Africa. That was the first, just for interest, just because of Zozi as well. But over and above that, also in terms of the entertainment industry. In the entertainment industry, once again, I was the founding member of the Independent Producers Organization of South Africa. And I was one of the first to also be a producer then with your Zinzu Kulus in those years. That's where the generational issue comes up, but also in terms of television and film production. Because once again, I was challenging the narrative that as Black entertainers, we are not just limited in being actors or actresses or presenters. And this was many years ago. Within that field as well, I was also fortunate to have been one of the first actresses from the Eastern Cape to work with the likes of Oscar-winning actresses such as Kathy Bates. I've worked with Yvonne Bryceland, Ethel Fugard, and John Carney. Now, in terms of the marketing, advertising and communications background, I was able to also launch most of South Africa's prolific brands, from Cell C to iBurst. I've also worked with Vodacom in terms of launching a lot of market disrupting products to market with MTN as well, to mention but a few. In terms of sports, and especially in terms of bidding, I was also part of the strategy team that put together South Africa's 2010 Soccer World Cup bid. I also was part of the Rugby World Cup. I was also part of the Olympics opening and closing ceremony, which was part of the bid as well in Cape Town. From a BEE perspective, I've always been in the lead in terms of setting up what then was called, they still are, I guess, your empowerment transactions. And I was the first to set up a PR agency with McCann Erickson in Cape Town, where I dealt with a lot of the projects, the presidential projects. I was fortunate to work with the Thabo Mbeki and with the Nelson Mandela project. I've always been a bit of a maverick in the sense that when I believe in something passionately, I push against the grain. So I took on a lot of projects at that time that were not politically seen to be politically correct. And I remember once having engaged ShopRite, the CEO of ShopRite, and I still said to him, this is something that you need to do. When the ex-political prisoners ask for something, you're supposed to say, how much do you need, and give me a blank check. And so I challenge people at the highest level, and I continue to do so. I continue to be at the forefront in terms of socio-economic and sometimes political movements that would ensure an inclusive and cohesive society for broad-based inclusion. And with that as well, because as I said, it's like, what can you say, for 30 years experience? But some of the most proud moments that I've had in my life. I'm also a survivor of GBV. I have also lost my mother, who in the 70s was a renowned model and actually was killed by her partner. He shot her and then he shot himself. It's a well-known story. I always say it's a Romeo and Juliet story of South Africa. And having been a product of that as well, it pushes you to not only be a survivor of GBV, but also to be a victor. But having said that, it also, because when we start engaging at tables across private sector, my passion continues to be us beginning to evolve the GBV discussion to a discussion that says, how does this impact on the bottom line of an organization? We need to begin to qualify and quantify it so that it is relatable from a business perspective. And in terms of that, I've engaged auditors as well to say, I want this to be included in the King Report. I want the same as we've now begun to quantify the impact of HIV and AIDS on the financials. Let's start looking at GBV if really it is a pandemic. In my role as the Johannesburg Chamber of Commerce president, the first Black female president in 130 years of this organization, and from what I know, I'm the only Black female president of a chamber in the world. That comes with its own responsibilities as well. However, I must say that the journey has not been easy. Yeah, the journey has not been easy because you are placed in a position where you can enable transformation, but over and above that, it must be transformation that happens in a manner that still acknowledges and celebrates the contributions of the people that have been in the organization. So with the beauty background as well, I started within the chamber a wellness and beauty sector, because usually everybody would be talking agriculture, agro-processing, construction, e-commerce and all of that. And I said to them, no, let's do wellness and beauty. And they said, typical president, because look at her. And I said, no, I can quantify it. The wellness and beauty industry alone contributes 150,000 jobs that have been formally documented. Yeah. The wellness and beauty industry contributes towards the GDP of South Africa, so some substantial contributor. Over and above that, it also has a full value chain that goes into agriculture, that goes into manufacturing, and it also defines the aesthetic of the country, and therefore also sets in motion a narrative that will provide confidence in our women. So that's one of the things I've done. And then golf. I must mention the golf as well. So I then said, okay, I am doing a golf day. Yeah. And they said, oh, really? And I said, yes, but this golf day will only be for women. Did I get into trouble, Seipati and Andy? I had calls because I said, when I say only women, it means that only women will be playing. And they said, why? And I said, because I heard that golf stands for gentlemen only, ladies forbidden. And I said, I'm going to change this. I'm going to make it girls owning their leadership future.
Wonderful.
And then what I did, it was only ladies that were on that field. And what an amazing, amazing, amazing day. I remember that there was even some of the guys who said, can we dress up as ladies and still join the golf day? And they weren't allowed. But it's just some of I think it's just in my DNA. It's in my DNA to say that as we have a responsibility as women, because we are incubators, and we are incubators of hopes and aspirations of nations. We are the ones that birth the realities of the world personified.
But thank you so much for that, comprehensive background. But what I picked up from there, you're not just a survivor, you're a victor, a pioneer, a trailblazer, and of course, the epitome of beauty. And we're very excited to see the likes of Zozibini taking, from the trailblazers who've been there long before them, understanding that beauty and brains don't necessarily have to be isolated. So you can be beautiful and you can still be a leader and you can still have influence in this world. So thank you for your leadership. Thank you for leading by example. And thank you for being a motivation and a role model for women like myself and the Zozibinis of this world. Thank you for your time. And congratulations once again for making it this far.